part 5 of this build. I think that's the part we're on. I don't know, I'm getting lost on numbers here, but anyways, here's our 6-liter, there's our Toyota. Hopefully in this episode we're gonna get it planted in there, and then, well, yeah, I guess we'll go from there. The previous episode with the transmission, well, that was kind of a fiasco with the parts and stuff, but it ended up working out because then I could just pull all the guts out of the transfer case and the transmission to actually move it around easier and get the mount set up and stuff. So anyways, here we are. Let's get this thing plugged in there and go from there. Okay, I pulled it back out and I forgot to record to tell you guys what was going on and why I pulled it out. So the issue I'm running into, just kind of that first initial trying to fit it, was these water pump dudes, lines, whatever, the freaking mail-in on that was hitting the motor mount on this side. So that was going to get all jacked up. It was like on it, and I still needed to come back like 3 inches to the transmission. So yeah, basically what I'm going to do now is, I should have just done this in the first place, but I'm going to cut these guys out and then basically take the motor back in there and then figure out where I can set these original mounts, try to weld it, and then use the truck motor mounts. So hopefully this will bolt on here. I don't know which, I think it goes this way. I think it goes that way. That makes sense. But anyways, take this truck mount and make it fit onto the original Toyota mounts. One down, one to go. Okay, there's our motor mounts. I'm going to show you guys what I was talking about real quick. It was these 3 water pump outlets. It was hitting that. You can kind of see where the motor mount was right here, but they were basically right in the way. So anyways, it's back in there. The next issue I'm seeing is this factory brake lines. It's definitely going to be in the way of the exhaust manifold over here, because it's the exhaust manifold going to come like probably all the way up here and sit right up in here or something. I don't know, I guess I'll see when I get it in there, but it's actually a lot tighter than I was thinking. Let me show you the other side. So here's this side, and I don't know if you can see down there, but like the V-band or whatever it is, if I try to get the engine to be straighter in here, it's hitting the frame. So this is going to be interesting. I got to figure out, I probably just need to bring the whole engine and transmission up, because there's a ton of room to bring it up. So that is likely going to be what's going to happen, but let's go underneath and take a look on what we got going on. So here's our underneath view. The major thing I'm trying to do right now is get this little white line right here, make sure it's either on this lip or underneath, so this transmission needs to come forward or something. But another thing I'm seeing is I'm hitting this flange here, and earlier my block of wood fell out. That was my spacer, but I think what I'm gonna have to do is space up this mount, get the transmission up, and then bring the engine up. And we've got hardly any room for the exhaust manifold on that side, and I think it's gonna be a good luck on this side with the turbo stuff, because it just takes up a ton of room. Oh, the crossover pipe, that's going to be interesting with this drive shaft here. Lots of things going on right now, but anyways, and also trying to watch the clearance here, and there's a clearance over on this side. I don't know if you guys can see or not, but yeah, just making sure nothing is touching. So there's the underneath. I'm going to mess around a little bit, see if I can get it figured out, and I'll show you guys what I got when I get there. So here's our collector pipe here. Now I'm trying to fit him in. The only issue I'm seeing is I'm hitting the chain, but also it's obviously not clearing right in here. So to get that to work, we're going to need to break out our purse here and try to work this inner fender a little bit. I don't want to, I don't know if I want to leave as much as I can just for mud and stuff. And it looks like there's a place to, I guess what I could do is just self-tap screw some like a piece of sheet metal in here to keep the mud and stuff out too much. But yeah, let's get this in a little bit and see if we can fit that manifold a little better. Oh, that's nice. I got her in here. I had it bolted in a minute ago. I still got a bolt holding it up, but a little bit of massage work. She slid right on in there, especially when I get this chain and bolt out of the way. It ought to go on like super easy. The only thing I'm going to run into is kind of down in here. If you can see, it's real close. So I'm just going to try to cut as little as possible. I can't quite hammer that down anymore because there's the shock tower is right under there. So I'm just going to cut some of the sheet metal, like maybe 1.5 inches off in a little half circle, and then it should fit great. But the other thing I'm noticing, there's a brake line right there that's going to be in the way of the crossover to collect it right here. And then the biggest issue is that drive shaft. So basically I'm probably going to have to adjust the crossover pipe, basically probably just make a whole new crossover pipe, just because that's like way too close for my comfort kind of thing. Yeah, I'm thinking that's where we are now. I'm gonna cut this out real quick, and then from there figure out, basically straighten this motor, because it still needs to, I think I need the transmission to slide to the passenger side a little bit just to get this straight, square-ish. And if not, well, it'll just sit in here kind of crooked. I don't think that's that big of a deal. But anyways, there's a little bit, the level, if you can see it there, it's the front of the motor's a little bit high, and I'm kind of okay with that, just to let that oil run back into the bottom of the pan, which is in the back. So yeah, that's the basically fitting all this in here for now. And yeah, let's cut this thing up a little bit and then move the transmission over. Clearance in here, so that's just about perfect, and it actually doesn't even look that bad for becoming, well, it's not even that sharp. Get rid of this extra piece down in here, but yeah, this is actually not bad, even with, I figured this would be really sharp. Oh yeah, right there. But yeah, okay, so this is fitting just about perfectly now. I'm gonna, I can fit my fingers in between here. So the next thing is gonna be getting this tail end pushed towards the passenger side a little bit. Here's our first motor mount. I cut it up a little bit. You can see I cut this notch into it. So hopefully that the engine motor mount will sit here. I'll just add a piece of whatever it's called, angle iron. Hopefully I can use this middle bolt hole for the middle of the motor mount bolt hole, and then I'll drill 2 more here and here, and then basically it'll just slide up here along the frame, and that looks like a really good spot for it. that's where this one's gonna be. So one down and one to go. So I'll start working on this side and I'll update you guys when I'm all done with that. Okay, so fast forward, the passenger side driver motor mount is in. Everything is clearing really well. The drive shaft, I think, is looking pretty good. The only real worry is that little thingy-majiggy right there, the oil. I think that's an oil gauge that tells you if it's low or not. I don't know, but that's gonna get smashed off by the U-joint here. But whatever. I think I'll just plug it or something. The other, hopefully, issue resolved was the gap in here. So hopefully I've got plenty of room now between the drive shaft and the pumpkin and stuff, and then to the motor. The manifolds are fitting really well. I also had to add this piece of angle iron here because moving the motor around and stuff, it sent this mounting plate way forward, so the holes weren't going to line up with this cross member, so basically needed to space this guy out. Don't look at my ugly welds, hopefully they'll hold, but I spaced it out about, it's a 1/2 inch plus, how thick was the plate? It was like an 1/8 inch, so it's like 5/8 spaced to the front, and then I just drilled new holes, bolted it in, just welded this guy solid. Hopefully, I guess we'll find out, but everything over here is looking really good. We got a lot of good clearance now. The only new thing is right in here. I barely, let's see if I can do this with one hand. Oh, let's just set that down there. Oh, come on, dude. I am barely touching the floorboard right up in here, if you can see my finger. But so I don't know, that I will either self-clear or I'll just take a hammer to it and make it clear. But anyways, everything else looks really good, clearing really well. So aside from that transmission mount, basically all I got to do now is pull the motor. I've got the motor mounts are just tacked in for now, so clean that up, finish welding those in. I got to make a couple more little braces for the motor mounts, but aside from that, this thing is set into where it's going to be, and I'll try to show you. Oh wait, no, I can't show you the manifold, but anyways, this is wastegate. I was just kind of fitting stuff. I'm gonna have to move the battery over to this side. It looks like it was like a ambidextrous, so for like left-hand drive versus right-hand drive vehicles. So I can take this battery box and just plant it right over here in this corner. So I got plenty of room for turbo, and then trying to figure out air intake and stuff, and that's gonna be basically everything from there. I think we're gonna wrap it up on this part 5 or whatever it is. I appreciate you guys watching through. Hope you enjoyed, and also if you're enjoying the series, feel free to hit the subscribe button, notifications, whatever you want, whatever, all that good stuff. Helps me out, shows that you guys are actually enjoying it, and it's worth my time to do this, I guess. But anyways, hope to catch you guys on the next one.